Southwest Florida's news source. This is Fox 4 News at 6.
Breaking news just coming into our newsroom. For the first time, we're hearing the 911 calls made the day Sergeant Michael Wilson was killed in the line of duty.
Sergeant Wilson was responding to a domestic dispute when he was shot and killed. 4 in your corner's Dave Colbert in the newsroom now with this breaking development. Dave?
Many of you will recall it happened around 8 o'clock the night of August 5th at the Lakes of Toscana apartment on the northeast side of Port Charlotte. Charlotte County Sheriff Sergeant Michael Wilson was the first to arrive on the scene. He unselfishly did not wait for backup, presumably hurrying up to help in what would turn out to be a domestic violence call where a husband and wife had been fighting. The 911 tape you are about to hear starts with the son calling. Then you'll hear a description of the fighting, followed by a realization that shots had been fired, and then 2 neighbors describing what they saw.
911, where's your emergency?
I need 911 at my house right now. My dad just hit my mom. Shot fired. Oh my God, he shot somebody.
Hello?
Okay.
What's going on?
I gun for my dad. I just took the gun for my dad.
Okay, I need
He
some...
fired 2 shots. Okay, please listen. He fired 2 shots. I don't know if he hurt anybody.
Where is he?
I just need help.
Where is
Right
he?
downstairs to the cops.
Oh my God, a police got shot, Mama. Ma'am, stay calm. What is your name?
I'm in the Lakes of Toscana apartment complexes. I hear cops coming, but I just saw an officer get shot, and he's on the ground.
It happened on Monday night, August 5th. 5 days later, there was a funeral for Sergeant Wilson at the Charlotte Harbor Event Center in Punta Gorda. It happened on a Saturday. Throughout most of the day, the entire county of Charlotte County was shut down. It started in Punta Gorda as a funeral procession went from Punta Gorda all the way up through Charlotte County, through Port Charlotte, almost to Northport, and then circled back around. Dozens, if not hundreds, of people were involved from various law enforcement agencies, not only around the area, but around the entire state. Coming up tonight at 10, we will have more on this. On the Fox 4 News at 10, we'll be able to hear more from the people that were involved in that 911 call. Live in the newsroom, Dave Colbert, Fox 4 in your corner.
4 in your corner following breaking news in Lee County right now. Exactly 1 week after the city of Cape Coral releases the findings of an investigation into the fire chief. Today, the fire chief has resigned. 4 in your corner's Kelly Stegeman following this story and picking it up from here. Kelly?
Patrick, City Manager John Zerlag tells us tonight he accepted Fire Chief Tim Hayes' resignation with regret, saying his reasons for leaving were of a personal nature. His resignation comes on the heels of a city investigation after a former firefighter accused Hayes of falsifying his resume, not being qualified for the job, and inappropriately hiring a friend as the new public information officer for the department. The recent investigation cleared Hayes of any wrongdoing, but did find the chief should have taken a few extra steps in the hiring process of his friend to avoid perceptions of favoritism. However, Zerlag said that wasn't enough to warrant his termination. Chief Hayes last week responded to that investigation, saying in part, "I proudly stand by my work experience, education, accomplishments, and philosophies." We do know tonight that Battalion Chief Donald Cochran has been appointed interim chief until further notice. Chief Hayes wasn't even a year into the job. His resignation is effective today. From the studio, Kelly Stegeman, Fox 4 in your corner.
The pressure continuing to mount tonight, getting more intense on Congressman Trey Radel as his cocaine scandal continues to haunt him. Editorial boards from across all the regional newspapers now calling for Radel to step down, resign from office, and focus on getting sober.
As 4 in your corner's Warren Wright discovered, at least one Republican congressman from Florida is among the politicians demanding that he step down tonight. Warren?
Well, local leaders aren't ready to bring down the hammer just yet, but one U.S. congressman says enough is enough. U.S. Representative Jeff Miller from Pensacola is the first Republican congressman to demand Trey Radel's resignation. He told a Tampa Bay TV station that, quote, "There are members that are not at all pleased with what he did, and I think this is a much bigger issue than he thinks it is. Quote, this is not in keeping with the ideals of this institution, and I think he needs to stay home and needs to leave Congress." Governor Rick Scott wouldn't go so far as to say Radel needs to resign, but did say the cocaine bust was, quote, very disappointing. Every public official needs to live up to the highest standards. With no sense of direction as to what will happen next, the national media spotlight is now on this man, Terry Miller, the executive director for the Lee County Republican Party.
We have been inundated with calls from the media, absolutely.
What are they asking you?
The same question. Should he resign? Should he should he stay in office, what's my position?
So what is his position on dealing with Trey Radel? Miller would only say he wants to have a conversation with the congressman. But Miller doesn't feel a strong sense of urgency to reach a conclusion anytime soon.
There are 435 members of Congress. The Congress is going on business as usual. Members miss votes. Members come and go from the building at times. We're getting ready to go into recess for the holidays, so there won't be a big missed time for him.
Well, I reached out today to key office holders across the state of Florida, and I asked each one if they believe Radel should resign. Well, none of them would say publicly that he should quit. Neither did they voice any strong support for him to remain in office. Meanwhile, conservative commentator Sean Hannity of Fox News has said Radel should resign. Warren Wright, Fox 4, in your corner.
All right, Warren, and now we want to hear what you think. Do you think Congressman Radel should resign? Tell us why or why not when you call or text us at 239-206 Fox 4.
Tonight, a Facebook page called Recall Congressman Trey Radel has surfaced as of this afternoon. It has about 40 likes and a petition to expel Radel from Congress also popping up, garnering just under 100 signatures so far.
Well, some of the top dogs in the Republican Party have made their feelings known. They want Congressman Radel to stay in office despite the Koch bust and his inability to even vote right now. Why? Well, Fox 4 is finding out the Republican leadership in the House of Representatives is heavily invested in Radel's political future. 4 in your corner investigator Gabrielle Saran uncovering the money trail tonight. Gabrielle?
Patrick, Representative Radel is the first sitting congressman convicted of a judge charge in more than 30 years. So why haven't prominent Republican leaders called for him to step down? The answer may lie in some of Washington's top House leadership PACs, leading members John Boehner, Eric Cantor, and Kevin McCarthy all giving money to fund Congressman Trey Radel's campaign.
I'd say that he seems pretty popular.
OpenSecrets.org crunched the numbers. Last year, political action committees donated $39,000 to the freshman Republican. Cantor gave $10,000, Boehner $5,000, and McCarthy $3,000. So far this year, it's $18,000, bringing the total amount they've given to $57,000 since the congressman filed to run for office 2 years ago.
It is interesting to note that he's received a fair bit of money from the leadership.
The House's leadership hasn't called for Representative Radel to resign. On Wednesday, Radel admitted in federal court to buying cocaine in an undercover sting. He pleaded guilty to misdemeanor cocaine possession. Does this indicate that Boehner has a vested interest in Radel?
I think it's going too far to say that, given how many members of Congress he gives to. I'm not going to go there with that.
Although the congressman's future hangs in the balance, one thing's clear: the House's leading men believed in him.
I think when you put all of those things together, you know, begin to get a picture of a larger relationship, a closer relationship.
And another big question is, will these leadership PACs provide more funding for Congressman Radel's campaign, or is he on his own? Gabrielle Saran, Fox 4, in your corner.
All right, thank you, Gabrielle. Coming up in our broadcast, we have more coverage of the congressman in crisis. At 6:30, an update on the push for answers to the questions you're asking in the wake of the scandal. That's coming up. And you can get all the newest developments in this scandal online right now, fox4now.com. But first, we've got to look at your forecast. Jim, we were thrown a little bit of a curveball, I have to say, with the showers last night. We're not used to seeing those. Are we looking at more tonight?
Well, we did mention them in the forecast, although the showers yesterday actually were a little bit heavier than the computer models indicated. Tonight, we're drier. The atmosphere actually looks like it's gotten a little bit drier over the last 24 hours. We're only picking up on a couple of very tiny showers, and they're mainly out in the open waters of the Gulf of Mexico. Here's a close-up look. If you go way to the north, the extreme northern portion of our viewing area around Sarasota, we had a couple of showers there, and then a few that are mainly in the Everglades and that one that's out in the Gulf of Mexico. Very warm right now, still 78 in Fort Myers, 77 in LaBelle. The dew point temperatures are in the mid to upper 60s, actually a little bit lower than yesterday, so our relative humidity still high, but it's in the 55 to 60% range. Have a cold front coming this weekend, and it's all about the timing with this front, how it's going to change our weather Saturday and Sunday. Then there's another front that's going to be moving through next week, and that's going to bring us some changes for Thanksgiving. Take a look at your Thanksgiving forecast and your forecast for the big travel day, too, coming up.
A Cape Coral man losing his life this morning after a crash on Pine Island Road and Cultural Park Boulevard. 22-year-old Joshua Benner dying from his injuries at Lee Memorial Hospital after being thrown from his motorcycle in a collision with a minivan. Benner was not wearing a helmet. Witnesses telling investigators that Benner was driving recklessly right before the crash, changing lanes frequently and cutting off other drivers without signaling.
A Charlotte County man airlifted to the hospital after a rollover crash on I-75. Fire and EMS crews receiving the call about 3 o'clock that the 18-year-old man rolled his pickup truck near mile marker 164. Southbound lanes were closed for about a half hour as Aeromed choppers secured the man and flew him to Lee Memorial Hospital. All lanes are back open tonight. Florida Highway Patrol investigating what caused that crash.
Tracking crime in Lee and Charlotte counties tonight. Deputies arresting a man who allegedly stole a car and then robbed a bank. Lee County Sheriff's deputies say they got a call from Charlotte County asking for help locating a stolen gold Chrysler equipped with a GPS system. The vehicle spotted near the SunTrust Bank branch on Bonita Beach Road, and detectives say a man was running through the nearby woods and parking lots.
As deputies were exiting their vehicles, the bank employees flagged us down and indicated to the deputies that the white male running actually robbed the bank.
The man was taken into custody and the robbery is still under investigation.
Naples police making an arrest in Tuesday's robbery of the First National Bank of the Gulf Coast. 36-year-old David Olfey of Naples charged with bank robbery and grand theft. Investigators say Olfey entered the bank and presented a note to the teller demanding cash. He allegedly fled in a green sedan. Police located Olfey yesterday and placed him under arrest. Continuing to work for you, 4 in Your Corner pushing for the answers Congressman Radel did not give before checking into rehab.
Cape Coral police getting creative to bust a suspected burglar. How they used a Netflix account to give one guy an unhappy ending.
But first, what's up with these gas prices? They were on their way down, then shot right back up. 4 in Your Corner finding out why. Next.